number 74, read the Bible in a year. Deuteronomy chapter 11, 12, and 13. Chapter 11. Therefore you shall love the Lord your God and keep his instructions, his statutes, his ordinances, and his commandments, always. Know this day, for I don't speak with your children who have not known and who have not seen the chastisement of the Lord your God, his greatness, his mighty hand, his outstretched arm, his signs, and his works, which he did in the middle of Egypt to Pharaoh the king of Egypt, and to all his land. And what he did to the army of Egypt, to their horses and to their chariots, how he made the water of the Red Sea to overflow them as they pursued you, and how the Lord has destroyed them to this day. And what he did to you in the wilderness until you came to this place. And what he did to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, the son of Reuben, how the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, with their households, their tents, and every living thing that followed them, in the middle of all Israel. But your eyes have seen all the Lord's great work, which he did. Therefore, you shall keep the entire commandment which I command you today, that you may be strong and go in and possess the land that you go over to possess, and that you may prolong your days in the land which the Lord swore to your fathers to give them and to their offspring, a land flowing with milk and honey. For the land where you go in to possess isn't like the land of Egypt that you came out of, where you sowed your seed and watered it with your foot, as a garden of herbs. But the land you go over to possess is a land of hills and valleys, which drinks water from the rain of the sky, a land which the Lord your God cares for. The Lord your God's eyes are always on it, from the beginning of the year even to the end of the year. It shall happen, if you shall listen diligently to my commandments, which I command you today, to love the Lord your God and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give the rain for your land in its season, the early rain and the latter rain, that you may gather in your grain, your new wine, and your oil. I will give grass in your fields for your livestock, and you shall eat and be full. Be careful, lest your heart be deceived, and you turn away and serve other gods and worship them. And the Lord's anger be kindled against you, and he shut up the sky so that there is no rain, and the land doesn't yield its fruit, and you perish quickly from off the good land which the Lord gives you. Therefore, you shall lay up these words of mine in your heart and in your soul. You shall bind them for a sign on your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes. You shall teach them to your children, talking of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates, that your days and your children's days may be multiplied in the land which the Lord swore to your fathers to give them, as the days of the heavens above the earth. For if you diligently keep all these commandments which I command you to do them, to love the Lord your God, to walk in all his ways, and to cling to him, then the Lord will drive out all these nations from before you, and you shall dispossess nations greater and mightier than yourselves. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads shall be yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon, from the river Euphrates, even to the western sea shall be your border. No man will be able to stand before you. The Lord your God will lay the fear of you and the dread of you on all the land that you tread on, as he has spoken to you. Behold, I set before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, if you listen to the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you today, and the curse, if you do not listen to the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn away out of the way which I command you today. to go after other gods, which you have not known. It shall happen, when the Lord your God brings you into the land that you go to possess, that you shall set the blessing on Mount Gerizim and the curse on Mount Ebal. Aren't they beyond the Jordan, behind the way of the going down of the sun, in the land of the Canaanites who dwell in the Arabah near Gilgal, beside the oaks of Moriah? For you are to pass over the Jordan to go in to possess the land which the Lord your God gives you, and you shall possess it and dwell in it. You shall observe to do all the statutes and the ordinance which I set before you today.
Deuteronomy 12. These are the statutes and the ordinances which you shall observe to do in the land which the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you to possess all the days that you live on the earth. You shall surely destroy all the places in which the nations that you shall dispossess served their gods, on the high mountains and on the hills and under every green tree. You shall break down their altars, dash their pillars in pieces, and burn their Asherah poles with fire. You shall cut down the engraved images of their gods. You shall destroy their name out of that place. You shall not do so to the Lord your God, but to the place which the Lord your God shall choose out of all your tribes, to put his name there. You shall seek his habitation, and you shall come there. You shall bring your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, the wave offering of your hand, your vows, your freewill offerings, and the firstborn of your herd and of your flock there. There you shall eat before the Lord your God, and you shall rejoice in all that you put your hand to, you and your households, in which the Lord your God has blessed you. You shall not do all the things that we do here today, every man whatever is right in his own eyes, for you haven't yet come to the rest and to the inheritance which the Lord your God gives you. But when you go over the Jordan and dwell in the land which the Lord your God causes you to inherit, and he gives you rest from all your enemies around you, so that you dwell in safety, then it shall happen that to the place which the Lord your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there, there you shall bring all that I command you, your burnt offerings, your sacrifices, your tithes, the wave offering of your hand, and all your choice vows which you vow to the Lord. You shall rejoice before the Lord your God, you and your sons, your daughters, your male servants, your female servants, and the Levite who is within your gates, because he has no portion nor inheritance with you. Be careful that you don't offer your burnt offerings in every place that you see, but in the place which the Lord chooses in one of your tribes. There you shall offer your burnt offerings, and there you shall do all that I command you. Yet you may kill and eat meat within all your gates, after all the desire of your soul, according to the Lord your God's blessing, which he has given you. The unclean and the clean may eat of it, as of the gazelle and the deer. Only you shall not eat the blood. You shall pour it out on the earth like water. You may not eat within your gates the tithe of your grain, or of your new wine, or of your oil, or the firstborn of your herd or of your flock, nor any of your vows which you vow, nor your free will offerings, nor the wave offering of your hand. But you shall eat them before the Lord your God in the place which the Lord your God shall choose, you, your son, your daughter, your male servant, your female servant, and the Levite who is within your gates. You shall rejoice before the Lord your God in all that you put your hand to. Be careful that you don't forsake the Levite as long as you live in your land. When the Lord your God enlarges your border, as he has promised you, and you say, I want to eat meat, because your soul desires to eat meat, you may eat meat, after all the desire of your soul. If the place which the Lord your God shall choose to put his name is too far from you, then you shall kill of your herd and of your flock, which the Lord has given you, as I have commanded you, and you may eat within your gates, after all the desire of your soul. Even as the gazelle and as the deer is eaten, so you shall eat of it. The unclean and the clean may eat of it alike. Only be sure that you don't eat the blood, for the blood is the life. You shall not eat the life with the meat. You shall not eat it. You shall pour it on the earth like water. You shall not eat it, that it may go well with you and with your children after you, when you do that which is right in the Lord's eyes. Only your holy things which you have and your vows you shall take and go to the place which the Lord shall choose. You shall offer your burnt offerings, the meat and the blood, on the Lord your God's altar. The blood of your sacrifices shall be poured out on the Lord your God's altar, and you shall eat the meat. Observe and hear all these words which I command you, that it may go well with you and with your children after you forever, when you do that which is good and right in the Lord your God's eyes. When the Lord your God cuts off the nations from before you, where you go in to dispossess them, and you dispossess them and dwell in their land, be careful that you are not ensnared to follow them after they are destroyed from before you, and that you not inquire after their gods, saying, how do these nations serve their gods? I will do likewise. You shall not do so to the Lord your God, for every abomination to the Lord, which he hates, they have done to their gods, for they even burn their sons and their daughters in the fire to their gods. Whatever thing I command you that you shall observe to do, you shall not add to it, nor take away from it.
Deuteronomy chapter 13. If a prophet or a dreamer of dreams arises among you, and he gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder comes to pass, of which he spoke to you, saying, let's go after other gods, which you have not known, and let's serve them, you shall not listen to the words of that prophet, or to that dreamer of dreams, for the Lord your God is testing you, to know whether you love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall walk after the Lord your God. Fear him, keep his commandments, and obey his voice. You shall serve him and cling to him. That prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has spoken rebellion against the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to draw you aside out of the way which the Lord your God commanded you to walk in. You shall remove the evil from among you. If your brother, the son of your mother, or your son or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend who is as your own soul entices you secretly, saying, let's go and serve other gods, which you have not known, you nor your fathers, of the gods of the people who are around you, near to you, or far off from you, from one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth, you shall not consent to him, nor listen to him, neither shall your eye pity him, neither shall you spare, neither shall you conceal him, but you shall surely kill him. Your hand shall be first on him to put him to death, and afterwards the hands of all the people. You shall stone him to death with stones, because he has sought to draw you away from the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. All Israel shall hear and fear, and shall not do any more wickedness like this among you. If you hear about one of your cities, which the Lord your God gives you to dwell there, that certain wicked fellows have gone out from among you, and have drawn away the inhabitants of their city, saying, let's go and serve other gods, which you have not known, then you shall inquire, investigate, and ask diligently. If it's true, and the certain thing that such abomination was done among you, you shall surely strike the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly with all that is therein, and its livestock. With the edge of the sword you shall gather all its plunder into the middle of the street, and shall burn with fire the city.
We can see here in God's character what he's sharing. This is how I want you to worship me. And I thought it was very amazing that he used the word cling. Cling to me. And when we're going through something really difficult in our lives and we cry out to God, when there's nothing that we can do, we can either get hard and just do our own thing, or we can turn to him and just kind of, God, help me, and cling to him, so I can picture the clinging in that way. But when everything is going well, I think that it takes a lot more focus to cling to God.
Sure, absolutely.
To not take things for granted and to remember that the things that are going well, it's because of him. It's not because of me.
Yeah.
If I've done well in sports, it's because of the talent that he's given to me.
Often we cry out to God when we're going through hard times, but in good times, are we giving him the thanks for the good things that we're going through?
Yeah, and this is what I see here is he's saying, whether it's good or bad, remember me. Don't forget me. Remember who I am. I mean, hey, there's these people who were basically mocking him, and he said he opened up the earth and he swallowed them. It's like, this is who I am. I mean, just don't mess with me. But also, I will provide for you. I love you, but I'm not a pushover. And so I think that, from my view of God is a father who loves me, but I have a healthy fear of God. Like,
Sure.
I'm conscious of God. I'm going to make a decision like, what is God going to think about that? Okay, it'll keep me from doing some bad things.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want us to live in fear, but he really wants us to live with, like he said, praise him. When we see that what he has given to us, praise him.
Sure.
When
it says, write it on your doorpost.
Yeah.
Put it before your eyes. Teach your kids how
Yeah.
great this God is that you worship.
In other words, live it. It should be a part of your life.
Yeah.
People should know that you're following God. Your children should know. It shouldn't be something that we learn about God secretly in our bedrooms, with the lights off, nobody around. But it should be part of who we are. And especially our children. Our children should share with us constantly, really on a daily basis, a love for God and understanding of who God is. I've seen that happen where parents don't teach their children and they think that that's okay. It's like, no, actually, that's not very wise, because how are they going to know who he is if you don't teach them?
Yeah, that argument of, I want them to make up their own mind. Well, they're going to make up their mind by us teaching them the right way to go, just as he's teaching us the right way to go.
And then, as it says here, by teaching and following the commandments.
Yeah.
Loving God, first of all, it should be something that's authentic, not just because we have to, but, it should be authentic. But also that we're living in our life where, being generous, we are helping people, we are doing what we need to do. It actually reminds me of my great-grandmother. When I was reading through this, it really reminded me of that, because my dad would tell all of us, and he still tells all of us, how much my great-grandmother would just go from house to house to house to house when they moved to Canada after being, freed from slavery. She was a slave, and she'd been freed, and they went up to Canada her and her husband led 12 families to have freedom. But she prayed at every single house. She would just go and pray. And he said she would pray so much, she would lift up the chair. She'd be on her knees, and she'd lift the chair off the ground as she was praying for that house.
Wow.
And for those people in that house, for, the future generations like myself and our family. And I really believe that God answered those prayers, that we have been given so much talent and so many things, and so many amazing things have happened in our lives. And I really do say it is from God. Thank you, God. But I really believe that a lot of it came from her prayers.
Mm-hmm. And we get another snapshot of what these people were like in the land that they're about to go into. There were some pretty graphic, scary things. Sacrificing their children, honoring all these false gods. It was not a very pretty place to live.
And you think about that today. What does that look like today? Sacrificing our kids. Do we physically do that? No, but, not teaching them about God is basically offering them to the God of this world, right?
Yeah, that's a hard teaching.
It's not the same, but it's in another way, because he does talk about you don't want them to follow other gods. Mm-hmm. And so teach them about me. So the importance of that, and I heard that this is the first post-Christian world, so that children aren't learning in school or from people around them about God. They're not reading the Bible, they're not learning the Bible. So it's the first time that they're really in a very pagan system, a very pagan world right now.
Yeah, and it's the last chapter we looked at is a very stark warning against that. You know, if someone comes, a dreamer or a prophet comes and teaches you and leads you away from God, stone that person. If we're not teaching our kids and our families the right way to go, someone is going to teach them the wrong way to go.
And we know that in this day and age, we don't go and pick up stones and stone them,
Yeah.
Today, but really be radical. I mean,
we need to be serious
protecting-
about our spirituality
Really.
and our families' lives.
And I think really like getting rid of anything in our lives or around us that is causing us to be unholy or impure.
Yeah.
Really being, I guess, very different from what the world teaches, and in some senses, very radical. There are so many things that are taught that today that are just accepted by the world because people just become like frogs in boiling water. It just becomes normal. And this is exactly what was happening to the Israelites and what God warned against. If we're among that, if we're not seen, if we don't have anything to stop us or to show us, no, go this direction. If we're not reading the Bible, if we don't know what the scriptures say, the Holy Scriptures say, we're not going to know any better. We're just going to become just like the gods around us.
It's true.
We'll be doing exactly what God's saying don't do. And a lot of it will be just because we don't know any better.
And that's, I think, why he's reminding us at the beginning, write it on your doorpost, put it before your eyes, teach your kids. If we don't know it ourselves, how are we going to teach our kids God's ways?
And it doesn't mean that we become weird or bizarre, because we can be normal people.
Yeah.
However, we can be different in our righteousness and our love for God. That's what should be standing out. And in that sense, being people who love more, who are, generous, and who are full of mercy and grace, like God.
Sure, and enjoying the life that he's given us and the land that he's given us, and always coming back with thankfulness and gratitude.
I agree.
Yeah. See you again next time.